last year. They had a really deep run, suffered some injuries late, ended up losing in the regional semis to Canton Glen Oak. And then now, we're looking at them here down at the state championship in Division III. They're a senior-laden group. They're experienced. They've played in a lot of big games, and this is going to be a fun one.
TJ, what impresses you most about this Louisville's team? I was saying before you came on, I called 2 of their games in Columbus. I love their inside presence. I love the way the point guard runs the show. But what really excites you about this Louisville team?
To me, it's a team that can dance to whatever song you want to play. Right, you want to play slow. They have the guys like Braden Gross and Tejal Joncic. They have a point guard running the show, plays with pace, kind of controls and manages the game. But then if you want to get up and down, you want to play fast, they can do that too. So they're a team that I think, regardless of the pace, has a chance to win in almost any matchup that they play. I think a team like Cincinnati-Aiken can give them some issues potentially, right, just with their ball pressure and athleticism. But I think Braden Gross on the inside, we saw what he did to Garfield Heights. He had 19 of Louisville's 31 in the first half. I mean, I think he was the difference maker in that game, and I think he's got a chance to be a difference maker again tonight.
Now, the one thing I will say, TJ, is that Garfield and Aiken are 2 totally different teams. Similar in some ways, but different.
Yep.
And I think that with Garfield, you've got Marcus Johnson, and you've got some role guys. With Aiken, you've got guys that can really play, as me and you were talking about this morning. Do you see this game being a little closer than what people might think, and do you think Aiken can really give them fits if they get into playing Aiken style of basketball?
Absolutely. I watched one of Louisville's games down in Columbus when they played Westerville North. I thought Westerville North did a really good job with their ball pressure, not allowing Louisville to get comfortable in their offense. And Aiken does have the bodies and the athleticism and the length to do something similar. So I think it's going to be a matter of if Louisville can get settled, find an early rhythm offensively, and get that confidence going, guys making shots, then I think they'll be in control of this game. But Aiken does have the potential to kind of shake things up and be really disruptive defensively and not allow them to settle in. But Louisville is so good with those 5 guys spaced out, dribble, drive, draw, 2, kick. They have 2 really good players in Bo Siegfried and Braden Gross. And then they have a bunch of role guys that know exactly what their role is, and they do it really well. You look at a guy like Avrion Joncic, who's their 6th man, came off the bench in that Garfield Heights game, hit a huge 3 down the stretch. Tejal Joncic, who's going to Malone next year for basketball and baseball, a strong pick-and-pop forward that can really shoot it. Ashton Marshall's kind of like their dirty work guy. A lot of rebounds, back cuts, transition runouts, really good passer within their system. So, I mean, Louisville's a team that when they get confident and they get comfortable, they're a hard team to stop.
This is why we got TJ Petros here. He just broke it down. If you didn't get this about Louisville right now, then you won't get it because he just told you all about them. Partner?
Real quick, too, because we talk a lot about the star players, obviously the pace of play, their strengths and weaknesses. But also, as you get to this stage, you need help on the bench. And to win games like this, you need guys coming off the bench that are going to step up and make big plays. Who are some guys on the bench that maybe don't get that spotlight that the starters and the stars get? Who's coming off the bench that can play a pivotal role in today's outcome?
I think Louisville will probably go around maybe 7, 8, maybe deep today. Not a team that's going to be looking to play 9 or 10 guys. The Avrion Joncic kid that I mentioned, he's the 6th man.
Nice.
Strong, athletic wing that can step out and really shoot the ball. So he's a guy that I think is going to have a lot of opportunities off the just straight catch and shoot to get to see some balls go in. So I think they're going to need a collective effort. But I think it's all going to boil down to does Aiken have enough on the inside to stop a guy like Braden Gross? In that game against Garfield Heights, he was about as aggressive and as assertive offensively as I've ever seen him. I think, him being a senior, playing on the biggest possible stage, I think you're going to see that again. And as you can hear the Louisville faithful behind us, there are going to be a couple thousand people from Stark County making the trip down to this game. Unbelievable crowd that's been following this group of seniors the last couple of years. Should be a really fun environment. And if Aiken travels like they did for that Trotwood game, this should be a really fun environment for these kids to play in.
I got to tell you, that wasn't Louisville's fans. Aiken came out. Louisville ain't came out yet. So You heard it. He thought it was Louisville.
That's cool. I was at the game where Aiken played Trotwood Madison in the regional final. And Trotwood is the only team that beat Aiken in the regular season. It was a double overtime thriller. A lot of people that went to the game said it was one of the best games of the year. Aiken was able to get their revenge, and they did it in a pretty dominant way in the regional final. And the crowd that showed up for that game was pretty big time. So if we see anything like that, and we already know what we're going to expect from Louisville, it'd be really cool.
All right, well, good stuff. Justin Kinner, Coach Howard with you here, joined by TJ Petros with NEO Spotlight. Appreciate you giving us a little bit of insight, of course, as Louisville looks to win their first state championship coming up here in just a little bit. Their opponent, they're going to be taking on Aiken. You talked about them a little bit. I know that we're going to bring on Michael Roth to kind of give us a little bit more insight on them as we get you set for Division III state finals action on the OHSAA Radio Network and, of course, on Spectrum Sports. We have more of our pregame coverage coming your way next.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Ohio. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the OHSAA and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
High school sports has a way of bringing communities together. However, poor behavior by parents and other adult fans is tarnishing that experience. This is why the National Federation of State High School Associations advocates for education-based athletics. With the help of every parent, high school sports programs have an opportunity to teach students healthy participation, achievement, teamwork, and good sportsmanship. To learn more, contact us today.
All right, and we welcome you back. University of Dayton Arena here on the OHSAA Radio Network social media side of things. We appreciate you guys joining us. We're going to be joining you about 30-40 minutes before every pregame start for all 7 division championships. Of course, we're tipping things off, I should say, here in Division III. We just talked a lot about Louisville and their pursuit of their first state championship. Their opponent, Cincinnati Aiken, also looking for their first state championship as well. And joining us now to give us more insight on Cincinnati Aiken, Michael Roth with Prep Hoops, joining Coach Howard and I. Michael, we appreciate your time. TJ just did a great job breaking down, obviously, what they bring to the table. Louisville, as far as Aiken is concerned, only 1 loss on the year, and they're hoping to keep it that way here today.
Yeah, I was actually at their 1 loss this season at Trotwood Madison, but Aiken got revenge on the Rams in the regional final. They had a huge second half effort, and for Aiken, it all starts with their guards. You guys, senior duo, Jaden Arnold and James Burnett, 2 of the best players in the Cincinnati City League. Arnold committed to Purdue Fort Wayne, while Burnett is still available for college programs to recruit. Both these guys can score the ball in a hurry. They are not afraid to pull up in transition on 3-pointers, want to get to the rim. Arnold, a very crafty finisher. He can hang in the air, finish with either hand at the rim. So we'll see if Aiken's guards can take the tempo and push the pace, because Aiken really wants to play an up and down style of game.
Mike, I was telling people watching before you guys came on, you know, that you travel and you go to a lot of basketball games. What about this Aiken team? Because you got 2 different contrasting styles here. What about this Aiken team that can give Louisville fits?
I think it's their defensive pressure. When you were at the Louisville versus Bishop Hartley game, Louisville went a long stretch in the 3rd and 4th quarter. They weren't really scoring the basketball, and Aiken has a similar defensive strategy as Bishop Hartley does. They want to turn you over, they want to pressure you, and unlike Garfield Heights, Aiken has a couple stronger centers than what Garfield Heights had. Garfield Heights had size, but they were skinny bigs. Aiken's got a couple kids with a little more muscle. Might be a little harder for Braden Gross to bully like he did against Garfield Heights. Gross is coming off one of his best games of his career, put the team on his back in a comeback victory over Garfield Heights for Louisville. I think he might have a little tougher time against Aiken's size and strength on the interior. So Louisville is going to need probably a couple other guys to step up that sort of played a backseat against Garfield Heights.
Well, let's turn it around. What does Aiken have to worry about when it comes to Louisville, like their defensive style? Because if one plays to the other or the other plays to the other, that's going to be a problem for their team. So what does Aiken have to do against a physical type of team like Louisville?
I mean, everybody talks about Louisville's comeback against Garfield Heights. Not many people are talking Aiken had to make a crazy comeback against Cincinnati LaSalle. They were down, I think, 12 points in the fourth quarter with about 3.5 minutes to go. And LaSalle is a similar team to Louisville in the fact they're going to make you work in the half court. They're not going to let you score easy buckets in transition. Aiken needs to play how they did in the final 3 minutes that LaSalle game, turning the team over, playing fast, because they really struggled to score for the first 30 minutes of that game against LaSalle and almost went home. So they're going to face a difficult challenge of scoring in the half court against a disciplined Louisville defense.
We talked about this with TJ a little bit ago because we talked a lot about the stars and the bench, the guys coming off the bench. We talked about some of those role players, obviously for Louisville, but from Aiken's point of view, who are some of those role players that when push comes to shove, when the lights get the brightest, when we get to crunch time that fourth quarter, the big high leverage pressure moments, who are some of those guys off the bench that we're going to be keeping an eye on out?
There's one guy. It's DeAndre Carr-Short. So Aiken starts a senior big, Tavon Smith. He's going to be crucial, but I think maybe just as crucial is going to be their backup big, DeAndre Carr-Short. He's a sophomore. He came off the bench all season, and against Trotwood in the regular season, he had a little bit of an impact on the game, but in the playoff game against Trotwood, he was 4 for 4 from the field, 11 points, had a three-pointer, couple putback layups. He played strong against a Kentucky football commit for Trotwood Madison at their center. He's going to have to play strong again against a Walsh commit for Louisville at their center. So I think DeAndre Carr-Short, he is the most important bench piece in this game.
Hey, talk about the star from Akron. He's the man, and I've told some people about this kid. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a Power 5 coach this morning, early, 7:30 in the morning, and we were talking about him. Talk about him for a minute. Introduce him to them people.
Jaden Arnold is one of the most skilled point guards in the state of Ohio. He's very good in tight spaces, which is sort of a lost art in today's day and age of basketball. Arnold, he can get really low with the dribble. He can change speeds very quickly, and he can hang in the air, finish at the rim. Good with his right hand, good with his left hand, finishing at the rim. Good jump shooter, can make pull-up three-pointers, but Arnold has his most fun when he's driving to the basket, either finishing around defenders or kicking it out to his shooters. So he's a blast to watch. I mean, I've been watching him, I think, since he was playing 15U on the AAU circuit. Very talented guard, and I mean, he's sort of a throwback style kid, like somebody you would see on the playground. Kind of translates into how Aiken wants to play, and he's just sort of a microcosm of their whole team identity.
I love him, but before I let you take over, partner, I got to ask Mike this one question. Give me a prediction.
Man, I'm going to sound biased. TJ's a Stark County guy. I now live in Cincinnati, so it seems like we're both being homers. But I genuinely do believe that Aiken's going to win this game. I think it's going to be a two-possession game either way. And it's interesting, like I mentioned, both teams have made big comebacks to get to this point. I think if you're looking at an 8 to 10-point game with 3 minutes to go, that team that's down is going to have a great chance to come back. So it's going to be about which team can close the door, doesn't turn the ball over, makes their free throws at the end of the game. I'll roll with Aiken, though. I mean, this is a team. They're tough. They got a lot of guard talent. It could go either way, but I'm a rock with Aiken.
All right, you heard it right here.
All right, good stuff. Michael Roth again with Prep Hoops. Awesome enough to give us some time, give us the Cincinnati-Aiken point of view. Cincinnati-Aiken getting set to go up against Louisville in the Division III state championship game coming up here just around the corner. Coach Howard, Justin Kidder will wrap up. We'll put a bow on our pregame coverage on the other side, and we'll talk a little bit about the state tournament with Jim Scobie coming up around the corner. More of our pregame coverage next.
Welcome to the OHSAA.
Every day we work too.
Take the regulations on these pages
and to apply them to real-life situations.
To serve our member schools.
and our officials.
And to run the best state tournaments in the country.
It's our mission.
To serve our member schools.
And enrich interscholastic opportunities for students.
Welcome.
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 Welcome to the OHSAA.
All right, and we are back. University of Dayton Arena, Division III state championship game just moments away from tipping off. We're about to send it to our partners, Spectrum Sports and, of course, OHSAA Radio Network. Excited to be back here at UD Arena for state championship weekend. We crowned 7 state champions in Division Girls action last week. Now we're off and rolling here today from the boys' side. Coach Howard, Justin Kidder with you here. Now we're joined by our next guest, Mr. Jim Scobie. Jim, you're a big fan of state championship weekend. How you feeling about the 7 divisions? How you feeling about state championship weekend tipping off today?
I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be some terrific basketball, and I think people are going to enjoy the new setup. I really do. I think this is a great weekend to, really let the state of Ohio and really all over the nation see some of the greatest basketball players, high school, in the nation. And we've got some good ones right away.
Tell me, what you been doing? How you been? You been following these basketball teams?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm very much involved with the colleges. I do a lot of announcing for Ohio University, and of course coached with Don Donaher at the University of Dayton for 5 years. So, and then Springfield has had some great teams. So I stay involved with TV and with radio.
You excited about this weekend?
I really am, and I think this is going to be, like I said, a really enjoyable weekend. I think you got some competition from all angles. You got teams that like to run, like we mentioned Aiken, a team that, gets after it. The pride of Hamilton County. I mean, they really only team to come out of Cincinnati. Well, Cincinnati, but I'll tell you what, it's an exciting time to watch basketball. And if you're around here at UD Arena, they do such a great job, and I hope this is one of the better weekends we've ever had.
All right, well, good stuff. And again, we appreciate you taking a little time jumping up on here with us. I'm excited for the tip-off to the D3 state championship game coming up here around the corner. I know we got more extended pregame coverage for you here on our partners over on Spectrum and on the OHSAA Radio Network. Coach Howard, as we wrap things up, final thoughts. I know you're excited about this. There's talent all over the place, but this is what it's about. D3 state championship on the line. You asked those guys, TJ and obviously Michael, their predictions. What's your gut? What's the George Howard, Coach Howard gut telling you?
Well, I'm looking for a good game. I love the style of Louisville, and I love the style of Aiken. I love the up and down pace of Aiken, and I love the way Louisville can take it to a half court, the way they move that ball. Both teams are very well coached, so I look for an exciting game. I could say the team I'm picking is the team that scores the most points, but
that's pretty easy.
But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with. I'll be back at halftime.
There you go. That's the safest answer.
I've got an idea.
What?
I think you're looking at 2 teams that are, playing terrific. I think Aiken is really, really tough, but I'm going to tell you what, Louisville might be one of the top teams in this whole tournament. You have to look at Reynoldsburg and you have to look at Olentangy as that's going to be an incredible battle. Maybe the best game here in the tournament. But I think Louisville has a really good chance today.
All right, well, there you go. We appreciate you guys. We're going to be with you before every state championship game all weekend long. George Howard, Justin Kidder, Jim Scobie, TJ Petros, Michael Roth, and of course behind the scenes. Shout out to our guy over at TKDS. What up, Kevin? Mr. Fowler, how are you?
Hey, partner, Kevin's the man, right?
Yes.
He keeps it going.
He makes us look good. That's all that matters. So there you go. But that wraps it up for us. Let's send it down to the court with our partners with the OHSAA Radio Network and Spectrum Sports. You got, of course, the Division III state championship game coming up next. As, of course, we talked about Louisville and Cincinnati Aiken coming up next.